But my very first slide is this. Change has never been this fast, and it will never be this slow again. And it's very true. And particularly when it does come to machine learning and AI. Actually, just the other day, I went into AI Picture Creator, and I basically typed in this. I typed in, create an image of a one-armed, one-leg, Indian-looking gentleman standing on stage in front of thousands of people. And this is exactly what it came up with. So I posted this on social media, and I had hundreds of people saying, wow, Sam, congratulations, what an amazing stage to speak on. And it made me think a lot. It made me think about what is real, what is fake, what is truth. And it's really sort of made me quite obsessed about where does the future of influence lie when it does come to what is real, what is fake, and particularly when it does come to artificial intelligence and the way that change is moving so fast right now. You know what's really interesting? You know, according to the latest study there in Merriam-Webster, authentic was the word of the year for 2023. We are now craving authenticity and to a certain extent vulnerability. You know, the word vulnerability comes from the Latin word vulnerabilis, which means an open wound. And I believe we've all got scars and there's no one at all that is perfect. And so today I've been thinking a lot about what am I going to share with you? How can I help you? How can I meet you where you're at? So my latest book, which I wrote, which actually got into the top 100 New York Times bestsellers, it's called People Follow People. And it's all about the profile economy, how we no longer trust brands, companies, logos, organizations, government, media. We don't trust it anymore, correct? It's true, which then means we actually now trust human beings. You know, Elon Musk was mentioned earlier on, but he has 400 times more followers than SpaceX and Tesla combined. People follow people. And so a question that I ask myself every single day is this: am I a leader worth following? And I question myself a lot when it does come to that. Both what happens behind closed doors, what happens in front of people, what's going on inside my head, inside my heart, inside my emotions. And am I truly a leader worth following? So look, before I get into this topic, let me share with you a little bit more about, my journey. As you can see, yes, I do live with a very significant disability. Actually, I want to share this day when I won the Young Australian of the Year. So they flew me up through to, and this was for my home state there in Tasmania. Actually, the interesting thing is, I was born and raised in Tasmania. I actually still live there. So tomorrow morning I'll be flying back home through to Hobart in Tasmania. My mum is Indian, born in Kolkata in India. My father is Scottish, born in Edinburgh in Scotland. I'm one of 11. There are 7 boys and 4 girls in my family, a huge family. Actually, I'm an uncle 39 times. I got 39 nephews and nieces. I mean, that's what happens down there in Tasmania, yeah? So, and so on Australia Day, they flew me up through to the capital of Australia, which is called Canberra, yeah? So I'm about to meet the Australian Prime Minister. At the time, it was Kevin Rudd. And I'm thinking to myself, what can I do in order for the Australian Prime Minister to remember me? Because as you know, the prime ministers, heads of government, they probably meet thousands of people, every month, as if they remember everyone that they meet. But I want it to be memorable. So I had one of my prosthetic arms on. Now, I've got different types of prosthetic arms. I've got one arm for playing golf. I do. I've got another arm which is like a swimming arm, so it's a little like a little flipper that fits onto the end of my stump, and so I just sort of started up, put it behind me. No. I've got the most advanced bionic arm in the world. It's worth over 100,000 US. It has 7 individual motors. I move each one of my fingers individually, my wrist and my elbow. And get this, I actually program it with my iPhone 12. That's right. Literally, it's got an app for my arm. Actually, the funniest thing, if you downloaded the app, you could control my hand. But on this particular day, when I'm about to meet the Australian Prime Minister, I was wearing a cosmetic arm, right? So my cosmetic arm looks exactly the same as my normal hand, yeah? So if I wear a long sleeve jacket on, which I was on the day, you can't notice at all that I have a prosthetic arm. So get this. I walked up to the Australian Prime Minister and he came over to me to come and say hello, but also to shake my hand. As I went to shake the hand of the Prime Minister of Australia, I detached my hand and my hand came off into his hand. So there was a lot of other celebrities that were there, you know, Glenn McGrath, Adam Gilchrist. They saw what was happening. They just started cracking up, laughing. The world's media came in, taking photos, everything like this. And Prime Minister Kevin Rudd's just standing there holding my hand. And in his Australia Day speech, the Prime Minister of Australia, he said this. He said, look, today we're surrounded by very significant Australians. We have Aboriginal elders, we have community leaders, we have sports heroes. But nothing can ever beat the intro I had to Sam this morning, because when you meet Sam, it's an extraordinary experience, because when you shake his hand, he'll leave his hand in your hand. And the Australian Prime Minister, in his Australia Day speech, then looked over to me and he goes, and thanks, Sam, I'm still recovering from therapy today. And I just wanted to give you some actual evidence that this really did happen. And as you can see, there's the wife, Therese, she's just lost it, right? And literally the Prime Minister of Australia is just handing me back my hand. It was certainly a very funny moment, that's for sure. But I think we all have moments in our life, and which we do. You know, recently I came across a word, okay? And the word is called this, Kairos, yeah? Kairos is the Greek word for time. So contrasting to chronos or chronological time, you know, meaning ordinary or normal time, Kairos time is laden with meaning and choice. So get this, the dictionary meaning of the word Kairos is a moment within a moment, a particular moment in where drastic change takes place. I actually remember that day very clearly. I remember, as we all do, you know, we wake up of a morning each morning, we say goodbye to our loved ones, our family, our friends that we live with. And I remember, you know, as you can see, my kids were very cute, weren't they? At the time I had 2 kids, and so I said goodbye to my wife and my kids, and I jumped in my big company car. And for those people that have ever driven in Australia, let me give you a bit of an insight how big this country is, yeah? So in Australia, it's about twice the size landmass of United States. In Australia, though, we actually have a population of around the same size as Los Angeles and surrounding areas, yeah? So bottom line is there's a huge landmass and not a lot of people. However, they have roads in Australia, and some of these roads you can pretty much drive for 200 to 300 kilometres and not a single corner in the entire road. And so here I am in Australia, I put my car on cruise control, and I'm driving along, and unfortunately I had a little bit too much on my plate, and I fell asleep behind the wheel. The police said I then veered over the other side of the road, and then they said I was going about a bit over 100 kilometres an hour. A truck was going a little over 100 kilometres an hour, and it was a head-on collision. I'll give you an idea of the impact. The steering wheel of my car was underneath the passenger seat. My elbow was ripped from my arm, was 25 metres away from the car. I had 6 broken ribs, lacerated liver, punctured kidney. Both my lungs had collapsed at the same time. My hip was completely shattered. I lost my entire quad on the road. I lost my kneecap, broke my fibula, broke my ankle, and yes, even the big toenail as well. It was really interesting. Straight after the accident, there was a major highway, major freeway that was there. And so the noise of the impact woke me up. So I was actually now quite awake and quite alert. And at one stage there was people running over towards my car. And there might have been maybe half a dozen, maybe a dozen people now that were standing outside of my car. And I remember so clearly the look that these people gave me. And it was a look like, this guy's not going to make it. This guy's going to die right here. You know, they can see the condition of my body. They could see what I'd lost. And so basically, to cut a long story short, I was then on life support. Initially, I stopped breathing. I lost consciousness, and I was told that my heart stopped for a bit over 3 minutes. Obviously resuscitated. The jaws of life, you know, the machine that cuts people out of cars. They cut me out of the car. They put me in the ambulance. They then drove me to the hospital. I was on life support for an entire week. The doctors, they said to my wife initially, they said, look, we don't know if your husband is going to make it through. The very next night, look, we understand that you have 2 little kids. They might grow up without a father. It was certainly very tough for my wife. And obviously after waking up from being on life support, I actually remember seeing my entire family right there by my bed. Now you all know how many people are in my family. And my mum, I love it a bit. My mum, she walked in the hospital room and she saw me lying there on the bed, and my mum, she looks at me and she goes, Samuel, you naughty boy. Why did you drive in front of a truck, you know? I love my mum to bits. She's awesome. But it was really interesting, you know. I initially when I woke up, I was in a complete and utter state of denial. This hasn't really happened to me. I haven't really lost my arm. It's okay. I'm in this really bad nightmare. It's going to end soon. For 2 days, look, Sam, you haven't really wrecked your leg. It's okay. You know, the doctor said to me initially, they said, Sam, you'll never be able to walk ever again. You'll be in a wheelchair for the rest of your life. And I was just in denial. This isn't true. I'm going to wake up from this nightmare. For 2 days, I was in a complete and utter state of denial. And then realizing what had happened, I remember going through pillow after pillow, just simply from my tears. But not because I was sad for myself. I was more sad that my kids would have to grow up with a disabled father. You need to realize the last time I saw my kids, I was throwing them up in the air with both arms. We were running, we were skipping. Now suddenly here I am, lame in a bed with only one arm. I didn't know how they're going to react. I didn't know how they were going to accept Daddy for what had happened. And get this, I remember lying there in my hospital bed, and out of the corner of my ear, I remember hearing my oldest daughter. She was singing and she was skipping like she always does, but this time right down the end of the hospital hallway. And I sat up in my bed and my eyes started to well up, not knowing how she was going to react, not knowing if she was going to accept Daddy for what had happened. And I'm staring at the door, just waiting for her to come in. Then suddenly, I remember seeing these 2 tiny little hands. She grabbed hold of the door like this, and she peered in, and our eyes just met. And she ran into the hospital room. Tears are running down my face. She jumps up on the bed, and she goes, Daddy, 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 did you have a car accident? And I said, yes, I had a car accident. And she goes, and Daddy, 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 did you lose your arm in the accident? And I said, yes, I lost it. I lost my arm. And she goes, and Daddy, Daddy, the doctors, they couldn't find it anywhere? she literally thought they just had to find my arm. See, sticky tape fixes everything, Daddy. My kids have never said, Dad, I wish. Dad, I wish you had 2 arms. They've never said it. My son, he was born. Actually, it's quite funny. After about a year, after the accident, we found out that my wife was pregnant. And my surgeon, he came up to me one day and he goes, Sam, you did lose a lot in the car accident, but it's a good thing something still works. Anyway, so we had my son about 18 months after my car accident, and he's never known his dad with two arms, and that's okay. Now, you know what's really interesting? My entire rehabilitation team, their entire focus for me was to get me back to that same job, back to that same working environment. Before my accident, I was working for the Australian federal government as a youth futurist. So basically predicting trends when it came to young people. How can we help young people in that smoother transition from school to either further education, training or employment? But also at the same time, I did a lot of extracurricular activities, etc. And so my entire rehabilitation team, their focus for me was to get me back to that same job. But get this, something had changed, right? Not only physically, but also emotionally, mentally, even spiritually. I was no longer focused to be that person that I used to be. So here's the thing. There was a local youth group asked me to share my story, and I went and shared my story. And then another youth group, and then a school, and then another school, and I'm thinking, wow, this is amazing. People are actually inspired by me just sharing my story. So I decided to start charging, right? $400 for me to go and share my story in schools. And before you know it, I was like doing 10 schools every week. And I thought, wow, I wonder if I could turn this into a career. Fast forward 2 to 3 years, I was then one of the most booked professional speakers in the Southern Hemisphere. I was getting paid close to $20,000 US for a 45-minute keynote. From there, I then launched a charity to help young kids live with a disability. And unfortunately, 10 years later, I actually left that. And now, today, I am a business owner. I now oversee about 200 staff, about 600 volunteers, and I run multiple multi-million-dollar companies. Actually, to be quite honest, if I may, I feel like a little bit of a fraud standing up here in front of you today, and this is the reason why. My disclaimer for you is this. I'm quite uneducated in a traditional sense. Meaning this, I never sat an exam before in my life. I failed high school. I didn't even finish high school. Middle school for those people in US, yeah? And then on top of that, I grew up in lower socioeconomic places in country Tasmania. My parents never owned a new car, they never owned a house, they never owned land. And on top of that, I'm disabled. So here's all my excuses. I'm uneducated. I can hardly even read and write. Yeah, and on top of that, I come from lower socioeconomic country Tasmania, and on top of that, I'm disabled. I had every excuse on why I couldn't make it. However, there was something deep in my soul, deep in my gut, that says there is more. I can continue to make a difference in people's lives. Thus, I then started, I just went on to become a professional speaker, and now my companies, we actually now train speakers all around the world. We have contracts with TEDx. We train people to do a TEDx. We train people how to share more powerful stories, and then obviously we train them how to win people's attention. So today, I'm going to spend the next 15, 20 minutes sharing with you some real tangible things on how you can influence powerfully other people. Because what we do know in the whole field of influence is this, and understand this. Influence is all about getting someone's attention. And what we know about our attention is that our attention has significantly changed in the last few years. Actually, our attention spans are shorter than any other time in history. Get this, Randstad did a study, and they first started the study 22 years ago that showed the average human being attention span was anywhere between 14 to 16 seconds. They did the same study 9 years ago that said the average human being attention span was anywhere between 7 to 9 seconds, shorter than a goldfish. You know what the average human being attention span is today? Do you know what it is? 3 seconds. Social media now giving analytics to digital marketers for anyone at all that has viewed your post 3 seconds or longer. Do you know why? Because it's one reason. Scroll, scroll, scroll. The average human being scrolls 2 miles a day. Which then begs the question, what are we doing right now? If we want to create change, if we want to go out there and influence as many people as we can out there in the world, how can we learn to win people's attention so you can be a leader worth following? So you can actually influence people to take action and actually follow you, your dreams, your aspirations, and the positive change that you want to make in the world. What we know is that we can't do it by ourselves. You know that. You know what's really interesting is that the Homo sapien, us as human beings, right, even though we're top of the food chain, understand this. When we, if we go back to caveman days, okay, if you walk through the jungle by yourself, you are prey. You are. There's many beasts that'll come and devour you. But the reason why we are top of the food chain is this one reason. When we go through the jungle together, as a tribe, as a community, as a collective, suddenly we move from prey to predator. When you share, do you keep their attention? When you dream big and want to create change, do you have people right there by your side to help you on that journey? And so I'm going to give you some really interesting insights in how to do this well. Just before I do, I just wanted to also mention as well, these are a few of my books that I've written as well, including also launching 5 multi-million-dollar companies and also 2 non-for-profits in my journey. I'm one of those people that, I can't sleep very well. On average, I'll probably sleep 3 to 4 hours a night, and then the rest of the time I'm working. I have a calling on my life. I believe I have a purpose, and ultimately there's a true destiny and calling on my life. I'm one of these people that dream that I still believe I can change the world. I've spoken in 17 countries in the last 30 days. All right, so now let's get started. What we want to now look at are characteristic traits. Let's look at these core ones here today. Trust, integrity, and character, or should I say courage. Which then begs the question, okay, how can we show and identify these character traits, not only how can we show this within ourselves, but also how can we identify this in other people? Because I believe if you do this well, you are a leader worth following. You are someone worthy to win my attention, okay? So let's actually have a look at this and how you can influence people better when it does come to your communication. So what we want to look at here is your persona, okay? The persona is the aspects of someone's character that is presented or perceived by others. That's what your persona is. So when someone meets you, when you are introduced, or let's say when they hear you speak, do they see truth? Do they see trust? Do they see integrity? Do they feel that you've got courage as well? I believe we can influence people to show that with others, okay? So what we want to look at here is 2 core areas to show this to other people, okay? Here are the 2 core areas. The first one here is the content, what we say. Yeah, these are the words that we say in whatever framing, and this could be the words that we say whenever we share stories, whenever we share our dreams, our aspirations, whenever we share what we really want to do in the world. And then the second area here is the methodology, how we say it, which as you can see there is things like body language and non-verbals, etc. Now understand this and understand this well. When it does come to content, it's about 90% of the information we receive, but only 20 to 30% of the influence and impact. This is very interesting. Now, the reason that in a way, if I may, and I don't say this to brag, but it is what it is, but the reason why I can get paid $40,000 US for a less than 1 hour keynote speaking engagement is not because I have the greatest content in the world. It's not. I'm a very simple person. I'm quite uneducated. However, the reason why I can learn, the reason why I win people's attention is not because of the content, what I say. It's because of the method, how I say it. Because when it does come to method, it is up to 80% of the influence and impact. Which then means this: if you want to share as much information as you can, stay focused on the content, what you say. But if you want to influence and impact another human being, you must learn the method, how we say it. So I'm going to deep dive a little bit more into this, and we're going to look at certain specific areas of our persona here, okay? So let's actually have a look in how you can come across both credible and also approachable. So we're actually going to deep dive a little bit more here into method, okay? So this is all simply about how to influence another person so you are a leader worth following, and ultimately you can make more of a difference in the world when you have a tribe around you rather than walking through the jungle by yourself. So we're going to look at 3 core areas. You're going to look at your face, we're going to look at your body, and also we're going to look at your voice here as well. Now, we have also got a researching company tied to us, and there's a lot of research on this. However, the majority of things that I'll be sharing with you today is all part of a core body of knowledge and an evidence-based approach. So, let's first of all look at face in being credible. Do you know how to be credible? We smile less, we blink less, we move our head less, and get this, ready? We keep our mouth closed when we're not speaking. Watch this, ready? Everyone watch my mouth? Watch this. Everyone watch my mouth clearly. Ready? Always keep your mouth closed when you're not speaking. Because if I have my mouth open when I'm not speaking, I come across with less intelligence. Always keep your mouth closed when you're not speaking, and you will come across with more intelligence. All right, let's now have a look at how to be approachable when it does come to our face. We smile more, we blink more, we move our head more, and they follow our eyes, but our eyes follow our hands. This is very interesting, okay? Now just remember, look, you can learn this as a skill, but remember what the number 1 word for last year is authentic. So don't get me wrong, we can learn all this, and these aren't manipulative techniques or anything at all like that. With the right intention, I want to teach you how you can be a leader worth following. With the right intention, I want to help you how to win people's attention, influence them so they can come a part of what you do. That is what leadership is. So get this, ready? And this is really interesting. You know that age-old saying when everyone says, always look at the listener when you're speaking to them? Did you know it's fundamentally wrong in story? This is fascinating, right? Get this, ready? So the listener follows your eyes, but your eyes will follow your hands. We need to show rather than tell. Let me give you an example. Watch this, ready? Watch this. I want you to imagine that my car accident is there. Actually, can we get a camera on me, and can we beam me up here for a second? Is that easy to do or not? I just want everyone up the back so they can also see my face as well, yeah? Can we get the camera up on the screen? No, it doesn't matter. Anyway, everyone watch me very carefully, yeah? So I want you to watch. So I want you to imagine my car accident is there, yeah? The ambulance is there, and the hospital is there. I'm now going to show this story. Ready? Watch this. Ready? The other day, everyone, I had a major car accident. And basically what happened, right? They cut me out of the car, they put me in the ambulance, and they drove me to the hospital. See that? I'm going to show this story rather than just tell it. Now this time, I'll now look at you and watch how I only connect with logic and I don't connect with your emotion. This is something that I will also mention here as well, just on a side note, is this. One of the greatest ways to win someone's attention is learning how to evoke emotion into the listener. Logic will inform, emotion will transform. We know this, yeah? Whereas a lot of the time we focus more of our attention on information, and look, it's great. Logic, and it makes logical sense. But just because something's made logical sense doesn't necessarily mean you've influenced them to take action on something, yeah? And let me give you one example. Let me give you an example. Let's say hypothetically my wife and I, we go shopping, I don't know, let's say for a washing machine, okay? So we go to the washing machine shop, and the salesperson comes over and gives us all the features, all the benefits to this washing machine. And I'm thinking to myself, yep, it makes sense, let's get it. Now get this, my wife, listen to this, ready? My wife, she looks at me and this is what she says. She goes, Sam, I'm not feeling it. Do you think we're going to get that washing machine? There's no chance at all. I truly believe one of the greatest things of leadership is this. You are in the business of emotion. If you want to truly inspire other human beings, don't just inform them, because it'll only connect with logic. We must transform them by learning how to evoke emotion into the listener. And we're going to share a little bit more about what that would look like here today. But again, my encouragement to you is this. When you are sharing a story, show the story. Don't just tell it. Because the more that you show it, you give the listener an experience of being there. These are mastery techniques when it does come to story. And also know this when it does come to story. Your story is your number one trump card. It is. I would even go as far as to, and I'll be really cheeky here, really cheeky. I would even go as far as to say, whatever skill set that you have, whatever area of expertise that you've got, I can probably find better online right now for free. Seriously, whatever skill set that you have, whatever area of expertise that you've got, I can probably find better online right now for free. Our greatest trump card isn't our skill set. It's not our area of expertise. It's actually our experiences. It's our story. Because no one on the planet has your story. And my encouragement to you is this. Learn how to share your story. Just remember, one of the most powerful things that you can do is this. People follow people. So if you want to be a leader worth following, learn how to share your own story. You know those times when someone comes up to you and says, hey, what do you do? Can you nail that moment in order for them to think, wow, I want to be in your proximity. I want to hang out with you. Be that leader worth following. All right, let's go back to my slides if we can. Thank you. All right, so that's face. Next one here is body. So when it does come to body, to be more credible, there are fewer gestures and we hold them longer. We move less. There is slow with flow movement, and we only move our hand when we speak. Okay? And I'll share this with you in a moment, how this works. But as you can see here, let's look at being approachable. To be more approachable, there are more gestures and we move more. There are fast and sharp movements and we move our hand anytime. Now, watch this, okay? Here's a really, really cool little technique here to win someone's attention. Watch this, ready? So we communicate with our hands. But as soon as I drop my hand, it's as if I put a full stop at the end of the sentence. And I've given the listener permission to speak over the top of me. Whereas, watch this, ready? Watch, ready? But if I keep my hand up, then you're still anticipating what I'm going to say next. And then and only then, when I drop my hand, I've given the listener permission to start speaking. Watch. Isn't that interesting? Here's another really cool technique. Here's another one. Ready? Watch this. Ready? Here's another one. Ready? Yes, so we communicate with our hands, but watch this. We only move our hands when we speak. Because if I move my hands when I'm not speaking, it's incongruent with the way that I communicate. So again, watch this. Ready? Only move your hands when you speak. And then when you pause, you freeze the gesture. And then when you speak, you move your hands. So again, when you speak, you move. When you pause, you freeze. I want everyone to try that. Everyone try it. Ready? Everyone sit forward in your chair, quick. Sit forward in your chair for me. Ready? Watch this. Ready? Now have both of your elbows bent. Have both of your elbows bent. Like these are, like, just remember, some of the greatest leaders on the planet are master communicators. And I'm teaching you some techniques that only the masters use, yeah? So watch this. So keep your elbows bent, keep your elbows bent. And the content is this: only move your hands when we speak. And then when we pause, we freeze the gesture. Let's just try this already. Ready? So the content is only move your hands when you speak, and then when you pause, you freeze the gesture. Everyone try this. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Only move your hands when we speak, and then when we pause, we freeze the gesture. Now, all right, keep it up, keep it up. Now, drop it. Oh, that's good, that's good, that's good. All right, now let's have a look at voice. When it does come to voice, is this. To be more credible, there is a lower pitch, there's a slow rate, around 140 words per minute, and we pause more often and longer. When it does come to being approachable, understand this: higher pitch, faster rate, 160 words per minute, and we pause less often. It is a higher pitch. Let me give you an example, right? How you end your sentences is going to be pivotal in how you come across. Now, understand this. Now, most young people, what we see is that you'll end your sentences in a high tonality, which then means you're more approachable. But be mindful, you also want to come across credible as well. Watch this, ready? Let me give you an example. So when you end your sentences in a high tonality, you're approachable. When you end your sentences in a low tonality, you're credible. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're on a plane, okay? You're on a plane. The cabin supervisor, you know, the person that brings the trolley up and down, they want to come across more approachable. So they'll end their sentences in a high tonality. Listen to this, ready? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's flight. Today's flight, we're flying from Bangkok through to Singapore. And if there's anything at all that we can do, please don't hesitate to ask. Yeah? So they want to come across more approachable. But get this, ready? The captain, our lives are in their hands. So they end their sentences in a low tonality. Watch this, ready? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's flight. Today's flight, we're flying from Bangkok through to Singapore. And if there's anything at all that we can do, please don't hesitate to ask. So get this. In his content, he's saying, or in their content, they're saying, if there's anything at all that we can do, please don't hesitate to ask. But in their method, they're saying, leave me alone, I'm flying the flippin' plane. You've got to catch this. These are fundamental skills in order for you to be a leader worth following. Learn how to communicate more effectively so you can build your missions, your vision, your proximity fast as well. Hey, if you like, I don't mind if you want to take a photo of this. Quick. If you want to take a photo of this, I'll give you 10 seconds on this, and then I want to move on to a very quick activity, and then we will start with some questions. So I want to move into an activity in a second, and then we'll go into some questions. All right. I think everyone's got it. Great. Now, what I want to now look at is you and your story, okay? Because people follow people. And if you learn how to share your story better, and even though you might sort of be thinking, oh, but Sam, I don't have a story. You know, if I may, some of the greatest communicators that I've met are either your age or younger than you, and they can turn an everyday, normal story into an edge-of-the-seat thriller. And so I believe everyone has a story. Actually, do me a favour, and I want to anchor this in. Do me a favour. Turn to the person next to you and say, you do have a story. Say that. Come on, Jay, say it. You do have a story. You do have a story. And I believe your story is worth sharing. Your story is worth sharing because people follow people. All right, so we're going to do an exercise here. We're going to do an exercise, okay? Here's the exercise. I'm going to share with you very quickly what a hero's journey is, and in a moment you're going to be partnering up and we're going to do an exercise, okay? So here is the hero's journey. The very first part of the hero's journey here is the setup, okay? The setup is who, where, and when. So if I'm going to share my car accident story, I would say something like, when I was driving in Tasmania on October the 3rd, 2006. Done. Tick. See that? I've just answered these three questions. Who, when, where. With every single story, your first sentence ideally needs to be the setup, in order to give the listener an experience of being there. Yeah, this is the top tier area of how to share more powerful stories to win someone's attention. And know this, us as human beings, we're hardwired through narrative. We are. The moment that we hear a story, let's say this is why we love going to the movies, why we love reading great novels. Because us human beings, we love stories. It's what connects us as human beings. So ultimately, if you want to win someone's attention, you must learn how to share stories, yeah? So the first one here is the setup. The second one here is that Kairos moment. A moment within a moment, yeah? A specific moment in time, yeah? So who, where, when? So if I was doing my car accident, I would say, when I was driving along in Tasmania on October the 3rd, 2006, I fell asleep behind the wheel. I veered over the other side of the road, and the police said it was a 200-kilometre head-on, yeah? So I'm going to now share that Kairos moment, yeah? And then the last element here of every single story needs to be this, the resolution. What did you learn? You know what's really interesting? We are sick and tired of people preaching to us. We are, telling us what to do. But if you really, really want to inspire another person, and not only that, transform them, you don't just preach to them, tell them what to do. You share with them a powerful journey, a story, and then you share what you learnt in that story to inspire them that they can learn that as well. Are you with me? You know, we can learn the easy way, the hard way, the tragic way. You learn the easy way, learn from other people's mistakes. Learn the hard way, you learn from your own mistakes as long as you're learning. It'll take you 10 times longer, but as long as you're learning. But don't ever go tragic. What's tragic? Not learning from either. Doing the same thing, expecting a different result. So for me, I want to learn through other people's mistakes. So share with me a story. Tell me what you learned in that experience so I can learn that too. Yeah? This is the essence of leadership. Because as leaders, we shouldn't be preaching to people what they should be doing and how they can catch something. No, we inspire them through narrative. That's actually how you can get a collective on board on what you want to do in life. So, this is how it works. Actually, very quickly, I need everyone to partner up. Quickly partner up and then decide who is person A and B. Quick, partner up. Who is person A and B? Quickly decide who is person A and B. It's person A and B. Person A. Okay, come back to me. Shh. All the people A, please put your hand up. All the A's, all the A's. Come on, all the A. If you are person A, put your hand up. If you're person A, put your hand up. Come on. Who's person A? Put your hand up. Who's person A? Great, hands down. Person B, I want you to put your hand up. Person B, put your hand up. Now, very quickly, person B, point towards person A. That's right, person A, you're going first. All right, actually, I need everyone to stand up. The count of three, let's all stand up. Ready, 1, 2, 3, let's all stand up. Thank you. Come on, all the way up the back. I need you to stand up, please. Thank you. All right. So person A, actually, very quickly, I'm going to share with person B. Person B, I need you to be an active listener. Meaning this, that you need to listen very carefully because you will be reciting back to person A what you heard from them. So person B, be an active listener. Person A, if you know how to communicate in sound bites, you will make more money. You can influence more people. So this is a skill that can be learned, how to get rid of all the words that shouldn't be there and get short, sharp, direct, straight to the point. So person A, you'll be communicating your story in 10 seconds. Person B, you'll be an active listener and you'll be reciting back to them. Person A, ready, set, go. All right, time is up, time is up, time is up. Person B, shh, shh, shh. Person B, I want you to recite back to person A what you heard. Go. Person B, recite back to person A what you heard. Go. All right, come back to me, come back to me, come back to me, come back to me, come back to me. All right. This time, person B, this time you're up. However, person B, we've got some good news for you because you will have 30 seconds. Wait. Person A, I need you to be an active listener, please. Because in a moment, person A, you'll be reciting back to person B what you just heard. Now, person B, I would like you to consider the hero's journey. Do you remember person B? The hero's journey is this, the setup. Give me who is involved, when did it happen, and where did it happen? Right? There's nothing worse when someone shares with me a story and I'm thinking, did this happen in India, or did this happen in America, or did this happen in Australia? I don't know, because you didn't share with me where it happened, yeah? Or alternatively, there's nothing worse when I hear a story and I'm thinking, did this happen last week or did this happen 20 years ago? I don't know, yeah? So make sure you do the setup well, person B. Second thing is your Kairos moment, a moment within a moment of drastic change. And then right at the end, person B, then you can then talk about the resolution. What did you learn in that moment? Person A, you better be an active listener. Person B, your time starts now. All right, time is up, time is up, time is up. Person A, I want you to communicate to person B what you just heard. Go. Person A, communicate to person B what you just heard. Go. Come on, go. Grab a seat. Sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down. As leaders know this, we are only as good as how well we can communicate. You can be the smartest person in the room. You can have all the academic qualifications, all the experience, but all that is worthless if you do not know how to articulate and communicate what you know. It is one of the most greatest life skills for you to learn to be a leader worth following. This is a skill that can be learnt. And my encouragement to you is hang around with the right type of people and making sure that you're learning this. Here at Speakers Institute, we've actually developed the world's first AI app to give feedback on how well you're coming across. Now inside this we can give a so basically you do a presentation or even like a conversation. We then analyze, you then upload that to the cloud, and ultimately then through AI, we'll then give you a summary of it, positive feedback, constructive feedback, body language, speed of speech, energy timeline, long sentences, common words, filler words, the whole lot. So some of the latest technology now is very, very, very cool how to do this. All right, I want to finish off with one story, and then we'll then wrap it, and then we'll then go into some Q&A. So this here is my youngest brother, and his name is David. Everyone say hi, David. Come on. Yep. So he's the youngest in our family of 11. Actually, have you noticed the youngest in the family is always the most loved? Oh, yeah, you know it's true. Don't be naughty, huh? And my younger brother, you know, I love him to bits. He's my best mate, and he's my best friend. And, you know, recently he was diagnosed with cancer. So the good news was I was the same blood match as him, so I donated my own bone marrow to my brother. And we're all believing, David, mate, you're going to get through this, you'll be fine, you'll be awesome. But he wasn't. And he actually passed away, he died. And it was really sad me saying goodbye to my best mate and my younger brother. But you know something, things don't always go according to plan. We can plan to go in one direction, but life situations, life circumstances will take us in a complete different direction. And yes, there's a time for trauma, there's a time for sadness, there's a time for grieving, but also there's a time for us to pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and continue to move forward and be that leader worth following. So I wanted to ask you a question here today. What was your Kairos moment? What was that moment within a moment that had drastic change in your life? Because sometimes these are the very moments that make us a better leader and a leader worth following. I truly, truly believe that right now, everyone here in the room, you are tomorrow's leaders. And I do believe that our greatest days are ahead of us. I do. Why? Because the best is yet to come. Thank you very much. Thank you.